Alright, so getting into this, I guess just a quick disclaimer, I have not actually played the original Xbox version, but from the gameplay that I have gone ahead and watched, it's pretty much one for one with the PlayStation 2 version in terms of the whole narrative and the gunplay, which are the main things I want to talk about. Otherwise, it looks like it just has a little bit more flair in terms of like animations. The level design is slightly different, but for the most part, nothing should really change from translating from the PlayStation 2 version to the Xbox version in terms of my opinion of it. That being said, going into it, this was definitely a very different game, of course, compared to the Xbox 360 version, that being third person, this being first person. But I will say I enjoyed it a bit more. However, I am kind of torn. It was very interesting, to say the least. I think my two biggest kind of complaints with it that really kind of stood out to me, especially in this era, this game came out in like 2006, was the gunplay and the narrative. We were talking about the narrative in the last video. If you saw my how does it hold up on the Xbox 360 version, which is kind of cringy and kind of on the edge a little bit. This was just straight kind of cheesy. The entire story was kind of like a same story, different version, and that kind of translated over just a little bit, not really enjoyable. And along with that, just the pacing. There was a lot of talking in between. I don't remember that being a lot around in kind of that era of games. Even if you look at stuff like Halo, or even the older Ghost Recon games, is one of those things that just kind of was done better. And same with the gunplay. That was my main thing. It didn't matter how accurate you were. You had the little dot in the middle, then you had this massive bloom, and when you fired, it was just expanding, and it wasn't good. Overall, it was kind of disappointing. I expected a little bit more going into a somewhat newer Ghost Recon of that time. And if anything, it was almost like a step back. And that's kind of where I go into the kind of torn part, where although those three big things were kind of meh, overall it was very fun. It was very different compared to the other Ghost Recon games. And I don't know, it was just something kind of new. I think one of the other biggest things for me was, along with the gunplay, which was kind of, was the AI. It did one of those old school things where that I've always hated a lot with older games, where it kind of, the AI starts off kind of easy and then it ramps up dramatically, you know, where you practically feel like you're fighting aimbots. And combined with the poor gunplay, it was kind of difficult, and it definitely felt dated. But at the same time, it did have some qualities that I really liked, so it's kind of a weird in the middle. It's definitely one of those things you would need to play for yourself, and I would encourage you, if you look at this game and go, huh, that's interesting, definitely recommend giving it a go. It was definitely an experience. Even when I was super frustrated, I had a lot of fun with it. But, yeah, I think that's all I can really say about those.